Well, I guess I learned to write when I was in elementary school, but I actually didn't write for myself books and such until I was about 21, so a long time ago.
What was the first book you ever wrote?
Yeah, that one was a very strange one. That was the one I started after college. I'm trying to think what I can say. It was aimed at adults, not at young readers. It was sort of a dark... I one day will rewrite it in a funny way. It's such a silly idea that it's kind of inherently funny, but to me I took it very seriously when I first wrote it. My first book to sell, Simon Bloom, The Gravity Keeper, is kind of my favorite because it was really hard to write. It was my first book that sold, and I really had so much fun writing it. So I feel very proud of it and pleased with how it came out. But to be honest with you, the books that have come after it, Simon Bloom, The Octopus Effect, and the upcoming Simon Bloom, The Order of Chaos, I also really like. So I'm not being very fair, am I? I'm just saying I like them all. But I think it was just sort of how it made everything around you a little more magical. I guess we could blame my physics teacher in high school to some extent for making physics really fun. Okay, there's this thing with a pendulum and a metal ball and a pendulum, and he'll hold it up against, he'll have you actually hold it up against your chin, and it's extended from the central point. Then you let go, and the ball swings out, and then it swings back, and it looks like it's going to hit you right in the face, but it won't. The laws of physics say there's no way this is going to hit you in the face.
And they appear to certain people, but they do appear to other people.
The woods, just so you guys know, I grew up in a town called Fairlawn. This takes place in a town called Lawnville. It parallels my hometown. So around the corner from where I grew up, there's a dead-end street, and there's these woods. We call TJ Woods because they're right by Thomas Jefferson Junior High School. And I used to go into those woods to play all the time. And it was, after a while, they put these little barriers up so you couldn't drive your car up there or whatever. And I just thought, oh, that would be a cool place to go and have fun. So they weren't magical woods originally, they were just woods. And eventually I thought it would be better if they were a secret meeting place and that, you know, it was sort of like an elite club. And Simon and his friends somehow got in.
What made you decide to make Owen break up his sentences into little words?
So I was actually, I was talking about this last night with Connie, that Simon, Alicia, and Owen all have different parts of my personality in them. So I used to sit in class and sort of daydream and imagine kind of unusual things happening around me, like Simon. I can be kind of stubborn and sarcastic like Alicia, and like Owen, I can talk really fast. And I can be a little hyper. So yeah, I initially had the words all together, and my editor wanted me to put the little dashes between them. But yeah, I initially had it, we'd be like, oh my god, what are we going to do today? And it was just like one big blur, and the argument was nobody's going to be able to read it. So that's why we have the little dashes there.
What advice do you have for people who want to become authors but don't really know how to get started?
Well, first thing is read a lot. So yeah, write. Write as much as you can, write about whatever you want, even if you don't have a story or a beginning, a middle, or an end. You don't even have a character in mind. If it's a journal, whatever you want, write. For me, I just would do creative essays in school. Whenever I was given the option to write a creative essay, something that, you know, would come from my imagination, I would go a little wild with it, and I would have fun with it.
What made you decide to be a writer?
Oh, I think the answer would have to be I enjoy coming up with stories. And I actually had a teacher, junior year of high school, who gave me a really high grade on a creative essay I did. And she read it to all the different classes and had me read it to my class. And it made me realize that I actually had some talent at it. And I had all these stories running around in my head. I figured, why not try writing more?
Time outside of work.
I like to take naps. I'm really good at it. I like to watch TV. I like to watch movies. I like to rollerblade. I do like to nap, I swear. I'm very good at it, yes. I like to eat. Okay, I love science fiction and fantasy. I love to draw all sorts of crazy things. And I also like to go to these woods around the corner from my house. And I like to go there and come up with stories. I like to listen to music. I like to hang out with friends. I started doing what I do now, which is reading scripts and books for movie companies and TV companies. I'm going to shout out some names of the companies I work for. You guys tell me if you've heard of them. Nickelodeon. Yeah! Yeah, they're a great company to work for. I work for the movies and the TV side. You guys ever hear of Cartoon Network? Yeah! I envy you guys that you like to write at this age, and I encourage you guys, whether or not you want to become an author, whether or not you want to become a journalist, whether or not you, for example, if you like to draw, whether or not you want to become a cartoonist or an animator, still just do it, enjoy it, make the most of it. And if you do want to become an author, if you think you want to become a professional writer, artist, etc., practice, work hard at it, it'll pay off.